Hey everyone.
Hey, we are live on Instagram. Oh man, it is really good to be here with y'all. Hello, I am Dr. Chelsea Ray,
And I am Dr. Brian Thomas Lum.
and many of y'all know us. Some of you are new. We are popping on live today to have a really fun conversation with you about how your life changes in a year from the inside out and from ease. Like, how does your business flourish? How does your body regenerate? And how do your relationships become like juicy and easeful and like you attract the ones that you want? We are talking about how to do that with ease, and from your genius as well. Is there anything you want to say about that?
And there's no better time than right now. We don't have to convince you of the chaos and the crazy that's on the planet right now. And it's here for a reason. It's actually here to... People have jobs. People have things that they do because they think they have to do it, and they have money that they have to make and bills, and they got sucked into a certain funnel, and it's not even aligned with who they are and why you're here. And so something that's shifting right now is there's an influx of needed people on the planet to support the transformation that's happening. And that transformation happens on an individual basis, and then it happens on a collective basis. So there are many of you out there who are actually not doing what you're here to do, and you know it, and it eats at you every day. And so we have this opportunity where I have literally spent, 30 years, ultimately 57, my entire lifetime, but 30 years of actual professional, honing in on what's the easiest way to wake someone up to who who they are and why they're here. And not only that, but thrive, flourish at a level of a physical, emotional, mental soul. I am super clear on why I'm here, and the panic doesn't panic me. I'm actually excited about the craziness and the falling apart of stuff. So we've put together a program. We've run it once. We're running it again, and the first time was amazing. And we have someone here who's going to share their experience about this program. And our sense is that for some of you, you're going to swipe and see see ya, I'm clear. And there are going to be some of you who are oh my God, this is so exactly what I've been looking for.
Yeah. And the coolest part is we're not going to tell you how the change in a year happens. Our client Joshua is going to tell you how he actually did it.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to bring him on. We are so excited. Okay. So good to see you.
So good to be seen. So good to see you guys.
Where are you, by the way?
I am in St. Petersburg, Florida. This is where my parents have lived for a few years, and I decided to kind of chill here for a moment of time that's beyond a couple weeks or a couple months. And I actually committed to a sublet for a few months. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
Fantastic.
Great. Because you've been traveling, you've been in Guatemala, other places.
Other places, yeah, a lot of spots over the past almost 3 years now.
Beautiful.
Yeah, citizen of the world.
Yeah. And you've been on quite the journey in many ways. And I am so glad it was about a year ago, Joshua, that you and I sat down in this room on a phone call. And we discussed you potentially becoming an elemental embodiment facilitator. And can we jump right in? Can I ask you some questions about that moment in your life? Because I talked with you, but we haven't really all talked about this. And I'm curious, what was going on at that time? And what were you craving that you weren't getting anywhere else?
Yeah, so I had been about 2 years into this nomadic journey where I'd come out of a very initiatory style relationship and just kind of walked away from everything in my life, including my personal training business, and wandered the world for a couple years. The first 9 months was just a ton of unprocessed grief and struggle and strife and why the fuck am I doing this? The real hero's journey. And then after that 9 months in India, I found an online program that sort of changed everything for me. And it was kind of this foundational foundational connection to my soul, like in a way that I had never really understood before. It's kind of like foundational mystery school training with the Purpose Guides Institute. And so I went through that program. It totally put me in connection with my soul and my purpose, but really kind of the base level, like a lot of imagery stuff. And after that program, I came back to the States and I had like full on reverse culture shock. I went into a pretty deep, dark depression. It was a really challenging time. Like this high of discovering who I am at this really deep level. And then coming back, I'm like, well, what do I do with this? And fast forward a few months after that, um, things were starting to shift, starting to change. I was starting to kind of see where the pieces of the puzzle were going to start fitting, or I was starting to kind of foresee some vision of how to really bring my gifts online. And that was actually with this institute. I wanted to train with them the following January, and it was, October time when we had this conversation, Chelsea Ray. And yeah, there was just a felt resonance of like, huh, I really want to do this. Like your email found me and I hadn't looked at your emails in like 2 years. It was like so mystery school that I couldn't ignore it. And I had plenty of people who are close to me, who are spiritual, who I respect, were like, are you sure you want to do that training alongside this other intensive training? I was like, yeah, it doesn't make sense to my mind, but I know enough about, listening to my soul that it felt like a yes. And I know one of the qualities of, heeding the call is that it doesn't make sense to the logical thinking mind.
Yeah.
So there was a big just opening, and I had been around your guys' frequency a few years before, and so much of what you said stirred and activated scenes inside of me that I didn't really understand what you were saying most of the time, but I felt like these two are on something really special, but right now, like I can't even receive it. So that was kind of like the first round of mystery school with you guys, and then the next round was this phone call. I was like, I think I'm going to do this. Like it just felt like a clear yes. And I don't remember any other part of your questions, but I'll pause there.
That's beautiful. I love that. And something a hint to listeners is Joshua is essentially laying out some of the, like, in one way, we don't want to formalize our soul's connection and expression and how it speaks to us. And there are signs and they are repeatable. And you will hear those same things when you hear people's stories. And one of the things that he's alluding to is like, the mind and the soul at times are at odds with each other, especially if you're not fluent in soul speak. And so one of the ways you're on track is when your mind's like, what the fuck? And even your close friends around you are like, are you sure? And yet there's this, like, I don't know why, but I am going to find out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's like the recommendation I give to anybody and for your programs is like if you feel it, follow that.
Right.
Life gets a lot better when you learn to say yes to your soul. It just like you just cut straight to the good part of life.
It's
And
such a
I'm curious.
quantum timeline shift of reality when you
Yeah.
start doing that. Like everything.
It is.
And I'm curious if you remember any part of if there was tension between your mind and your soul. You mentioned like people were like, are you sure? Like this doesn't make sense to like take two trainings on top of each other. Um, what were some of the hesitations or fears that you had before you said yes?
I have a past history of just throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks, just signing up for all the trainings, all the certifications, and many of them, going into this kind of, victim failure story that I don't finish what I start. I don't see it through to the end. I took this certification, but for what? I didn't do anything more with it type of thing. I now know on the other side, all of that was in, you know, perfect intelligence. It's like we have to try all these not self themes to get to the self. But, you know, that definitely came up. Like this, I was like, dude, you're already doing this thing, or you're falling into old patterns again. But I felt this vision of supporting people in underworld journeys. That's what, the training was going to be for with the purpose guides. And so I'm helping people connect to their soul and go into an underworld journey. And not a lot of it we're taught was super somatic. We worked in the imaginal realms and with meditations and drumming and things, but there was sort of this missing somatic piece that, I just saw instantly. I was like, everything you guys speak to is the somatic expression of what I'm already doing. It's like the languaging was so resonant. So to me, I felt those two, I don't know if it's masculine, feminine, or what, but some sacred union coming together. And I just trusted that vision. And of course, there was money stuff too. And I remember you saying to me, Chelsea Ray, like, this seems to be a year of investment for you. Like this is a time of investment for you. And, you know, I invested, and the following year, this year, I spent almost $17,000 on a business mentorship. And in my mind, I didn't have that money. I was I was scarce. I was broke. Like I didn't have that money. But I did have that money. And and it showed up right when it needed to show up too. And there were a million lessons I learned from that business mentorship while I was so out of alignment. But it was like the learning through the polarities. That's a whole side spiel, but the money piece, that came up as well. Um, and how this was priced and the value and what I have on the other side, like I would have easily paid I would have easily rather paid the $15,000 to $17,000 for this training than I did for that business mentorship, like by far.
Wow.
Thank you.
Say a little bit more. I mean, I love hearing that and receiving that, and I have a sense that I get what you're saying. Is there anything of that you can break down for someone listening who's like, okay, well, that's compelling because um, you're speaking to me. Like I have stuff like I want to do it, and when I look at the numbers and I look at what's coming in, like that doesn't add up. And then also, there are all these other things that I feel like I could do where I could learn the tactics, the strategies of financial stuff, which I don't necessarily feel like I'm good at. So how are you making sense of that? Like I'm the person listening, asking you this question.
Yeah, it's a great question. I've had so many openings and expansions and alchemy and releasing so much these old belief systems that aren't just mine. I have Jewish ancestry, so there's so much around money and safety and survival. And like it was very revealed to me through my travels how indoctrinated I was, or how like it was all coming to the surface where I was like getting angry and fearful about spending $2 on a hotel versus $1, like that kind of shit. It was so at
Yeah.
right.
Right.
So on the other side of that, after this
There's
training,
there's
actually,
there's someone very uncomfortably laughing right now. They're just all a little too close. Can we move on? Go. I just had to point that out. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just talking about this today, so it's so fun. I haven't talked about it in a while, but what came through on those travels is it's where I like actually hold some guilt and shame of like how I was orienting around the locals and things. But I was purging my my scarcity beliefs. And yeah, how to answer this question? Like, there's so much I have been mentored in this year into sort of this really mystery school consciousness versus so many of these paradigms that exist within the matrix and even in the alternative healing, a lot of the alternative healing matrix worlds around strategy and figuring out, very, very mental and, logical. And thank God, like I'm not even good at that stuff because I failed so miserably at it, and my nervous system's so sensitive that in this business mentorship, I really pushed myself to reach out to 200 people, cold messaging and going on Instagram and doing it. It burned me out so quickly. Whereas I see people spending years and finding some success in getting, the money and the clients, but they're totally strung out, like burnt out you know. So going back to just if it's a soul yes, and I've developed so much of what I call a secure attachment with my soul. Like I have soul attachment that it's taken time and as it does with any form of attachment theory, like it takes time and work and showing up and it's a titration. But I understand now that if my soul is a clear yes for this, then the money will find a way. And it doesn't mean like the magical stories of the next day, I had an aunt that died and sent me a check for $10,000. It can show up as like
Right.
the next day, like you lose your house, like something massive that looks even more destabilizing and more like a crisis. But if I keep panning out and I just look back at my life and chuckle at how I was freaking out. I was like, well, I listened to, the magic and everything's shit, but I keep expanding. I'm like, oh, that was exactly what needed to happen. Of course, it was the perfection. The money found a way. I didn't die. I didn't go hungry, and I was all the wiser on the other side. So that's been my journey with a lot of this stuff. Is like it's the thing
Sometimes,
you're selling is like that deep connection to the body and being able to decipher all of those messages is, the reason I said yes is I had some of that skill already and that trust in the universe, which is also what you guys sell in this course.
yeah, sometimes when you get what you're hoping for immediately, it doesn't build with yourself and the maturity and the depth
Mm.
that you want to have, that you really meant to have, that you really are, that really fortifies you and makes you a strong pillar to support other people. So it's like you're saying, like retrospectively, it makes sense because I see who I am now. And when they're teaching you about magic initially, they want to teach you the stories where you instantly get it. Like the next day you found $500 in your
Yeah,
journal or something,
it's
which
much
did happen to
sexier.
one of our clients. But like that doesn't always build you into the person because you find that security within yourself. And on investment, like we talked about investment periods, especially if someone's a healer and they want to develop a business doing that, or a guide or a coach, they might not have a ton of business training. And something that I didn't get in business training, but I just learned along the way, is that there are things called investment periods. And if you're trained in business, then you're like, oh yeah, starting a business costs a lot. And it's normal to not be profitable in the first 2 years. Of course, there are ways around that. And if we can accept, if you can notice, oh, I am in an investment period, and then have acceptance for that, it's so much faster rather than if you need every little investment. Okay, I need to pay off that one to have trust in myself. Okay, I need to pay off that one to have trust in myself. Then you can stretch that out for like 20 years. But you could just go through it now and have a quantum investment period. And then in 5 years, your life looks entirely different. Like you're a different person.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the piece that really hit the nail on the head for me, Joshua, is just like when I asked you the question, the way that you answered it was essentially like, I through this process recognized that I had all of these distortional filters, which changed how I interacted with myself and therefore the universe that I'm in. Right. And so it's like, I hear this say, well, you don't have a money problem, you have a mindset problem. And it's like, okay, yeah, that's true. But there's a layer deeper under that. It's like, well, you don't have a money mindset
What's
problem.
creating the
You,
mindset?
you have a traumatized body. So essentially, you have a physiological, energetic permeability problem. It's like your body can't take in, it's doing,
Yeah.
and so it can't give and receive. So ultimately, then when we look at the investment, it's like, okay, some of us really need to like put some energy out into the world to, we don't feel safe doing it while we're telling ourselves that we're not safe, so that we can actually, and of course, this only works if you're actually connecting with your body and starting to unwind the trauma around the permeability problem. And for those of you who have forgotten your biology, permeability means the ability to like exchange information across a cell wall, we could say, for a cell permeability, right?
Means you can give and
You
receive
can give and receive, right?
selectively.
Selectively, yes, because there are some things you don't necessarily want to receive, and there are some things you don't necessarily want to give. So your ability to actually open yourself up at the level at which it's operating, which is our body. And this is the part that I think is, I spent 30 years uh really honing in with the question of the recognition. Like I was granted kind of early access to some stuff that I don't know that everyone has. And part of that early access was bringing my physical body to the point of death a few times, uh, to really get that I came into this world to steward my body as a sacred vessel. And if I did that, I would have access in ways in which nobody did. And so I did. So I like, I fucked up my body, like, because I didn't want to be here ultimately. It was like, I didn't want to be here because I felt like I got sent to the wrong place and I resisted it, right? It was a mistake. I was like wanting someone to relook at the paperwork. And so I tried to exit as much as I could until I recognized like every time I hurt my body and I don't tend to it, I'm actually making the journey harder. So I flipped the script, went the opposite direction, and committed my life and 30 years of work to say, like, what is the easiest way that we can navigate this? Like, I want the handbook. I want the original handbook that comes with the physical body. And, I think I've had lifetimes where that has been part of my struggle. And I've had amazing teachers in this lifetime. And that was the emergence of genius frequency, plus what I now know is absolutely true, which is the collective calling. So anyone who's listening to this and you're like, oh my God, this is it. This is me. You're actually part, the reason we want you in this program is because you're actually part of this program developing to where it needs to go. Like I'm clear. I started birthing this baby. And then I realized like, oh, I'm not birthing this baby without Chelsea Ray. And then the other people. And now we're at a point where it's like, it genius frequency desires other people to work with it in order for it to go further. And this is flipping a lot of scripts of education, of guruism, of ego, of all these things where it's like we're at the point where in genius we talk about the individual. So GEN, the origin or birth of I, the individual, and us, genius. So we're at the birth point where the individual and the collective must come together if we're to move forward. And literally, genius frequency is requiring that. So we're enrolling the souls who incarnated in this lifetime, knowing full well that when they heard this message, they're like, oh, that's me. I know that's terrible marketing. And every time I've been listened to or privy to, all the people say like, here, market this way. Here's the ABC XYZ, 1, 2, 3. I do it and it never works. So I just have to be authentic and say like, hey, you know who you are. And so just like do the thing.
Yeah. So you mentioned that it was worth like, I guess this adds up to like quadruple the investment. Like what happened inside the journey with us for you? Like was there anything that surprised you or anything that really clicked? Still, it stands out now.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I really felt myself come out of my shell in an online container in a way that I never did before. You guys carry a frequency of safety, but the safety comes from your authenticity and your humor. Like there was this one time, Brian, you were like talking about, ancestral wisdom, and you're like, and some of your ancestors are shit. And I just was like, that is amazing. I just, and just there's so much of a warm invitation to like bring yourself, and every time I did, I felt rewarded in the community. It was such a beautiful, contagious energy. And so I usually don't like online containers. I feel disconnected. I feel dysregulated. But like watching people get, entrained, it's like I'm actually feeling regulated through the process. I mean, I can't not mention the nature demo. I mean, that was
That was a turning point.
so profound. I was, you got, I mean, I don't know how much you want me to share about, the container structure, but I can share like, okay, so you guys demo on somebody for each class, virtually. And there was just so much hilarious synchronicity to me even getting picked for it. And there were like weeks prior that I thought I was first and I actually got irritated. And I was like, no, I'm supposed to be demo. It's supposed to be me. God got this wrong. But, but no, it was definitely supposed to be the nature one. And it was such a massive experience. Like my body was shaking before we even started, just being in front like that, being witnessed by the container of 40, 50 people and you guys doing your thing with me. It was so powerful, like equally powerful to similar experiences I've had in-person containers of like being witnessed. Um, but in some ways it was its own animal because I was in the time in Nicaragua and it's like you guys are national and it's like so quantum and crazy. And so I had a huge, somatic, cathartic, kundalini, like everything moving. I felt so high afterwards, like in the most beautiful mushroomed out way. And the weeks that transpired after that, again, it kind of goes back to what I was speaking to before of like, it didn't just like everything was magic afterwards. Things started crumbling. Like my business partnership, like all this tension that had been there, it was like right after that, we just like blew up at each other. Like the things that were building tension and we were kind of sweeping under the rug, and or I was in my life, it just kind of exploded. And I was riding this motorcycle and I crashed it twice and I had this knee infection and it just slowed me down so much because I was just going, going, going. And I went through this whole like Taoist initiation through riding the motorcycle again. I was like, I'm going so slow and I'm seeing that this is the pace of mastery. I thought it was just safer, but this is how I'm learning. Like it totally changed my perception. It uh like timeline shifted my nervous system to the ability to even be slower. And I got the insight I need to go into nature every weekend and fast all day. And that's what I did. And then what came through of that is like I had long hair for 9 years. And when I was out in nature, I was like, it's time to shave this. I was like, okay. And I shaved my head. And there was just, and that was the time when I made the $17,000 business investment. Like so many things happened as a progression of that one exploration, that one session, one demo, that I couldn't fit into the next hour here. But there was just cataclysmic, layered mastery, you know, programs I was being trained with. It was amazing.
This is the pace of mastery.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing. That's
what's
so cool.
wild about what you said and how you shared that story and the fact that you started it with like the whole thing's so quantum. So we've been editing the all the modules. And just recently we watched that
That one.
that one.
Like last week.
Yeah. And, we haven't seen it since we did. Like, I mean, the only way I've experienced it was live when it happened. And now for the first time, the edited version, seeing if there's any final edits that we want to add in. And I was so, I, I'm the person that technically, whatever, downloaded that process, and I facilitated tons of people, including myself. And I watched that experience, and it was like a portal. I mean, and it doesn't make sense because I'm like, I was, I had an experience just from watching you, just watching it with editing eyes. And it was so,
Yeah, we got high watching it. And that episode actually ends with you saying, I'm so high.
and,
Like,
and,
I'll say
and
high.
I actually, I was telling her, I was like, if they edit that out, we'd have to tell them to put it back in. And I left it in. It's the last thing that you see.
Like,
Yeah. Before it.
Well, I think the last thing was you guys laughing, and then it closed because I remember watching.
Well, on the edited version,
Ah.
it's just you.
Yeah, we hired
It's
a team
yeah.
and they did it. And you know what? I think you mentioned humor. Like, if your embodiment processes and your spirituality and your blah, 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 like your coaching work, your work, whatever it is, if you're not having levity and humor, there are seasons that are challenging, right? But if you're not having any levity, humor, breath, lightness on the way,
You're going the wrong way.
it can be a lot easier.
Yeah.
It just means your body's fighting the process and you're not like fully resolving things.
Yes.
You're marching through mud. Like you're working so hard against all kinds of resistance because like the reward of resolving an emotion or getting through something is like, and like that what happened in that person is like cosmic laughter.
Yeah.
And if you don't know cosmic laughter, if you're watching, what is that? It's like when someone moves so into their resistance, their stuff, that they come out the other side and they're so high with joy.
Yeah.
Joy and laughter. And it's a laughter that infects everybody. And like everybody in the room, and nothing happened that was funny, but we're all laughing. And it's like, and there's no drugs involved. Like this is inherent. This is a system in your body. This is a process in your body that is a reward from like going all the way through whatever it is that you're scared.
The only reason the drugs work is because we have the
pathways.
neurophysiology
Right.
and the chemistry that
Right.
supports them to activate and give us the conscious experience. So non-ordinary states with like transformation without those non-ordinary states that include joy and bliss and peace and ecstasy and all the things that most humans are in search of. And so therefore using drugs to get to them. I mean, that's when I said like, oh, I was like, basically tearing my body up. It's because it was like, I didn't want to be here and I was getting fucked up. Like, it's just, I mean, that's just straight up it. Like I enjoyed the fucked up state more than the real state.
He means drugs now.
Yeah, drugs and alcohol. I was like blackout drunk, getting high all the time. And being very functional at it, like going to higher education while doing it and getting A's and B's. I got a doctorate. I mean, I crashed a rental car while I was in chiropractic college. I have the jail picture to prove it. Yeah. So, it's so important what Chelsea Ray's saying, speaking to in your experience, because, if you think about like you went through that expanded state and then you went through some trials after that to get to the Zen moment where life, it's like, yeah, your knee's fucked up and it hurts and like life is hard and you're pushing out 17 grand to learn stuff that maybe wasn't potentially included in what you're supposed to be taught for the 17 grand. It was like more spiritual 17 grand spent, maybe you learned all kinds of stuff. And it's like to get to that Zen moment where you realize the speed of the reality that creates your daily non-ordinary state. It's like people live their whole lives to never get to that, not even once.
That's so sad. That's true.
And this is now a lens that you can just pop on anytime.
Yeah. So on the other side of the cosmic laughter, it's been some time. You got certified. I remember I think I did your exam. At the end of the process, we do a practical assessment where you facilitate someone in front of one of us and we get to give you feedback. And if you, yeah, so I remember you being like, hey, so I'm gonna, you're like, you had a client set up to like start a package with you and with EE. And so you kind of like were in a situation where you needed to pass.
Like, I need to pass because I have a client
I
that
have a
did
client,
this.
like, today, and they're gonna pay, and I want this to be an integrity.
Yeah.
And luckily, like, there was no issue. You just nailed it.
Yeah.
So I know that that's how it started immediately, and that was probably in May. What is different now about your life since then?
Mm. I mean, I went through another underworld portal after the training, and it was such a guided and deep reclamation of my feminine. And I had a session with Brian. I paid for a private with you because I felt I needed that. And so much of what you said during that session was just like so on point with what I was feeling and my own direct experience. Many past lives as a masterful woman. It's like I've got all these codes with my feminine, and I've spent this lifetime suppressing it, as most men have. But really, like, I learned so hardcore through polarity, and this year was such a big one of like, okay, business mentorship. I'm going to go ultra masculine. I'm going to time block every single minute of the day. I'm auditing myself. It was like so out of alignment, I think, with being a human, but so out of alignment with a deeply sensitive being. And if anybody knows anything about human design, I'm a reflector. So when I tell people that's what I was doing, they're like, wow, that's so out of alignment for your energy type. It's like, um, but what has happened since the training is the right teachers have come into my life, which is massive. Like you guys, I consider in that pool of right teachers. And I've been praying for my right teachers to show up in the physical form. It's like I've had the teachers show up in the non-physical, but I'm really wanting the physical form teachers. And this year it was like, I already had met you guys. So this year it was this elder shaman. He's in his 60s that I see every couple weeks on Zoom. And as soon as I get in front of him, I just start crying. It's just his frequency. It's his essence. There's not a lot he has to say. I'm like, I'm home. I've felt that so deeply. It's like I'm home. Another human who's been supporting me through my business endeavors, and she's entirely the opposite, mystery school, feminine, oracle. It's been so in alignment. It's like the perfect teacher to like help me come out of this. Well, she actually supported me going deep into that gestation period, deep into the feminine. And there was just so many gifts from that. I've only been coming out of that like the past month, and there's just been so much synchronicity, and my health has just been improving in ways I've been praying for like a decade. My nervous system, for the first time in my life, I'm realizing is regulated, like regularly. It's like I have, it's like a non-negotiable that I have slow mornings and slow evenings, and I do my work when I feel the energy to do my work, and I rest when I feel the energy to rest. I'm not perfect, but I was so far from listening to the messages of my body, even though I was an embodiment coach and all of these things. There was still so many layers of the matrix, the programming of like move fast, do, accomplish. Like it's so masculine polarity sided. And so that's been my journey. And it's like so in alignment with just even the astrology and the cosmology, and this year being the snake and next year being, the horse. Like I feel that like, wow, I have been getting deep into the foundations of crystallizing my sole purpose driven business. It's like this, it's actually the pillars have gotten to be creative. Like this work this training I took with you guys, like I wasn't sure how to work it at first, and through this better business aligned business mentorship container that I've been in, there's been so much like you're not allowed to use ChatGPT. You have to just journal, 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 and just journaling and having dreams about this modality, whatever you want to call it, and seeing how it is like Taoism. It is like ancient tea medicine. It puts you in alignment with nature. It's just the nature of things. Like it is like, and that's what I've been journaling about, and that's what's coming out in my website that's soon gonna go live. Like it's been just and I've just been behind the scenes, just really working it. So I haven't had a ton of clients, but I've had these spurts of energy. It was like, I need to hone my craft, and I reach out to old clients and I do it donation based, and I'm just like I'm in flow. I'm not in scarcity. Like I'm trusting that there's a divine timing to all of this. And I'm out of the strategy matrix programming. I've left.
Nice. Beautiful.
I think what a lot of people who want to have a soul purpose embodiment business, what they don't tell you is that you say, you're signing up. So like, hey, I'm going to help people with this stuff. And then life goes, okay, are you sure? And like gives you initiations. And all the initiations are you're pre-digesting what you're going to be helping people with.
Yeah.
And that's what qualifies you to be a guide. It's not something you learn about in school and then you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to teach this. And that's why not a lot of people make it through to be successful, is because they face the initiations and they take it as a sign of, I'm not meant to do this. This is too hard. I'm not who I thought I was. But really it's that you're facing what your clients are facing
In advance.
and and you're processing that so that when you meet with them, you're the person. You're the person, instead of being like, I'm going to teach you this, you're the shaman who shows up and you're like, they just sit there and they cry.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they change so much easier. Your clients will move so much easier. And your life is easier because of what you're doing now. And so you are on the path to mastery. Like that's all I've been feeling through this conversation is about like, we get to talk to you inside this chrysalis that most people don't talk about.
Two questions, Joshua. First is, how well equipped do you feel through the 12-week training to deliver the goods? So for instance, even though right now you're in this building your business period and you're like, I got to work my chops here. I'm going to call some people, do a session. When you do a session, how equipped do you feel when you're working with someone? And maybe if that's 1A, here's a 1B. And then as soon as the website, your readiness, and you're putting yourself out there, how quick do you feel to start to get like, I would love to be overloaded with clients? Where are you at with that?
Great questions. Coming out of the program and the training, I felt equipped. I definitely felt equipped. There were lots of things that would come up that I felt like, what does this mean? But it was always safe. Like I never came across a scenario. There was like times where I was a little scared, but it always ended up fine. And then I would ask you guys, or I'd ask somebody in the cohort, one of the pod helpers. And yeah, I mean, in my dream, it's like we're all in a physical pod, and I'm really like getting to ask you guys stuff in real time. Like, what does this mean? But I feel like it's part of the initiation. Like I've been taking these tools and making them my own, and my confidence with it has skyrocketed just in the past couple months, and just so intelligent to listen to like the wisdom of like reach out to people and start just doing it. Like don't even think about business, just do it, like hone it. That actually allowed me to be so confident because there wasn't necessarily, it's like whatever you want to get or nothing, I don't care. Like so I took so many more chances that I wouldn't have before because of this money thing, and it just skyrocketed my confidence. Where I'm at right now, I would love to be overloaded with clients. I'm like, I can't wait until this next year, and I'm like, let's fucking go.
Yeah, great, perfect. I love that. And the other thing, the part two to this is really maybe less of a question and more of a reflection about this work for people who are interested. what you said and pretty much everything about this conversation that we've been having is you being clear and working through your stuff that you're here in this life to work through so that you can then be the keeper of that wisdom, of that frequency. So all the problems that you're going through, you can now guide people through that. So if it's felt deep and intense, well, that just means you've got a lot of deep, intense range that you're going to attract those folks who have been to all of the people and can't find the results, right? And this is one of the things that I'm most proud of about Genius Frequency. The way that I say it is it's like a recipe. This is going to sound so unsexy, but just hear me out because the sexy part comes at the end. It's like if we had 10 of the best chefs in the world, bakers specifically, and we said, okay, here are all the ingredients, here's the recipe, make a Boston cream pie. And they all do it, they all have the same stuff. There's going to be nuance in every single one of those Boston cream pies. They're all going to look a little different. They're all going to smell a little different, taste a little different because the recipe is a recipe, but the soul of the chef is what's coming through. And that's what you're tasting. That's the excitement. And what I'm most proud of, wave of emotion with Genius Frequency is it's a fucking recipe. Like we teach you a recipe. Sorry, healing's that kind of cookie cutter.
It's not quite a recipe.
I know. They're going to mistranslate, but
It's a flow chart.
it's a flow chart. You learn how to do it, but anyone can do it. What makes it valuable is is your frequency, is your life lived. And man, 30 years, 22 years of doing a particular technique and just wondering, on a certain level, why were some people so great and other people weren't? I was like, there's too much unknown magic here. There's too much. The gap is too big. I want to create it so that people can just learn how to do it and relax into it and let their vibe rule the relationship. And so I love that you bring on this shaman of 60 years and you just sit before him and he cries because like I'm sure if we asked him about his life, he would tell us a whole host of shit that he had to navigate, and he carried that crap up a major mountain so that the people who sit before him don't have to, or at least it's easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you said about infusing my soul into this work has helped unlock some of my soul essence. So it's been a reflection, it's been a mirror, it's unlocked my inner shaman. Like I know I'm an intergalactic shaman. Like it's just like, well, what does that mean? Well, it's been revealing to me like through doing this, like finally there's some structure that I get to play with and like really it's like what I was saying before, it's like trying a bunch of stuff, but it's like using this whatever you want to call it, recipe flow chart, but like that has been such a rich it's fun. It's fun for if you're into healing at all, it's so much fun. It's like I do this with all of my friends are shamans too, so it's like they're so fascinated when they're like, what the fuck? Like in one session, the stuff that comes through is so, they're like, you didn't even call in any guides. I was like, oh, I don't always do that. I forgot to do that.
I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, to me.
Here's the thing, and if someone's watching, you're like, look at all these white people calling themselves shamans. Like, here's the thing, like,
Yeah, it's a one to.
I heard once. Yeah, I mean, I heard once that like what you were saying, Brian, that a shaman would say like, no, you don't want to be a shaman. Like this is not this is not a thing to aspire to. It's really fucking hard, and there's all this stuff that we don't talk about that we're talking about on this podcast, right? Or this isn't a podcast. This is an Instagram Live that we're talking about right now.
Preview of coming attractions.
Preview. And but here's the thing: if you are meant to be a medicine person, if you are meant to be a guide, a somatic guide, especially, like you just know, and this conversation will resonate with you. And even though it's not for the faint of heart, it's right to do and feels good to do because it's your thing to do. And it's way fucking easier to listen to the soul call and do it
Yeah.
than resist and live in the matrix.
Yeah.
And
That's
have a
the hard
job.
life. That's the real hard life. Because there's no sugar or sweetness in that one.
It is excruciating.
Yeah.
And yeah, I really honor your bravery and courage in doing this because there isn't um there isn't like a what is it like a guidebook. Like you have to find your mentors, and we we have actually done our best to create a guidebook, but you have to find us to get it. You know what I mean? You have to get a certain place to even know we exist.
Yeah.
And I really honor your courage and your consistency and persistence in doing this. And I feel just so good about you being one of the carriers of genius frequency. It feels so good to us. And I'm curious too, do you want to share if people want to do a soul journey with you, how do people work with you? How do they reach you?
Yeah, I mean, we're on Instagram, so you can go to my Instagram at Soul Body Wholeness, but also my website is technically live. There's like a little few last tweaks before I was gonna blast it out there, but I'm very comfortable doing that. And you know, there's a web page called Somatic Alchemy, and that's where you can read about this stuff. And I was trained through Genius Frequency and my own blend of things, and that's where you can book a session. And I have introductory rate for people, and you can always just reach out to me, like DM me if you're interested. But I also do a much bigger container, which is a 6-month underworld journey that has module work and everything else, and combines this work because I can't do anything without putting this work in with it too. So
Love it. That's amazing. Well, I am so I couldn't be more pleased if I had to pick someone to carry this work, it would definitely be you. There are many, but for you to be in this first cohort, like I was so excited when you signed on, and watching you over the last year, like your transformation. Um, I mean, I remember the first time I met you. Like I will not forget the first time I met you. And man, your trajectory has been just incredible. So we've been able to be part of that. I'm so excited that you're getting to serve people. I really hope that, I don't fucking need any hope on this one. I know you're just going to have a blast in this next phase of your life. So I'm excited that, you're part of the family. And, thank you so much for sharing yourself today and your vulnerability and, your story, all of it yourself.
Yeah. And y'all are probably go ahead, Joshua, please.
okay, I was just gonna say that thank you so much. That I was getting emotional. That means a lot to me coming from both of you. It's really special, and just feeling of this year, this theme over and over has come up of God hiding in plain sight. God has been hiding in plain sight all along. Like I had this deep prayer for finding my home, and I saw this sign like the next day. It was like, it showed Om inside the home, and I had this whole Oming practice. I was like, oh, it's been there the whole time. Om in the home, like,
Yeah.
chill at that, like, and this year it just feels like I've been coming home, and I've been nomadic for 3 years, and I keep having it's like, I want the stability, like I want the thing, but that coming from a lower frequency egoic state of like wanting stability on the outside. And there's just more work of finding stability on the inside. It's an inside job. It's a job with God. And yeah, like, I just feel so grateful and aligned to be a part of this community, and, to have you guys as my teachers. It's really special to me.
Thank you.
And everyone here, thank you for being here. Thank you for your presence.
Yeah.
And as you are putting together, we train facilitators. And we give you tools to help your clients
Yes.
on a deep body level that affects their mind, that affects their emotions, that affects their connection to their soul, as we're talking about. And we have a 12-week online course that begins in January. The cutoff to join is approaching. It's December 21st. If you are interested, you can just DM us and we'll send you the link. And yeah, thank you for being here. Mm-hmm.
Also,
So
DM
beautiful.
me and I'll send you an affiliate link.
Yes. Go to the chat.
We're new at this too. So we have an affiliate program, and Joshua is one of them.
That's right.
Let's
I
hear
think
it.
Don't come to us, Joshua.
I think it's
Just Joshua.
Just Joshua.
Yeah,
Well,
and it's
Joshua.
like JOSHUA. Just type that in.
I'm
when you're
99% sure that's it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Type it in like a coupon code
Yeah.
when you enroll for the training. Do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Joshua, thank you for sharing your stories with
Yes.
other people. Like their life can be easier because they know, oh, this is a thing. This is a way.
Mm-hmm.
I need to.
Beautiful.
Okay.
All right, friends. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.